think I'm live, even though there's some bubble popped up. Managing moderators can support your channel in even more ways. Introducing managing moderators. That sounds Orwellian. They can manage blocked words. What the fuck? Yep, that's Orwellian. All right, so I'm pretty unkempt right now. I need a shower, and but I'm just vegging out because I have the house to myself for like just today, or today's the last day that I have the house to myself. So vegging out, watching the Netflix, watching my landlord's Netflix downstairs now that my landlord's out of town. And so this is my first live YouTube. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I ever did. I had another YouTube account one time, and I think I did some live streaming to that. And then I think I lost the password, and then it like automatically made me a new account through my Google or something. So anyway, such is the such. But anyway, I taught a class on Friday at the library called, I called it Rowan Millar's Cosmic Symposium. So, and there were questions and answers and a little back and forth. So it kind of qualifies. I should try to be more faithful to that the next time. I did it on Friday the 13th as, like a kind of Halloween themed, edgy troll of sorts, like trolling superstition. And it was called like, on the poster, it had like a comparison of the underworld map of America in the ancient Egyptian Book of Two Ways compared with modern satellite maps. And the title, in red letters was like Hellscapes, Hell Spells, and Other Dark Magic. And then dark had like an asterisk saying like, i.e. mysterious. So I'm using dark magic kind of facetious, like kind of jokingly, kind of sarcastically, but also to legitimately mean dark as unclear, like that's the actual form of dark magic that actually exists, that is actually a form of, a sort of branch of ancient magic. I mean, technically, most magic is dark in that sense. Most magic is esoteric just in its nature. It's difficult to, it's enigmatic, it's difficult to understand. But like, anyway, so I did it on Friday the 13th of October because I figured like, I put like a little Halloween graphic also on the poster, like something with jack-o'-lanterns and like ghosts and whatever, something like that. Just a little transparent, PNG file, whatever. And so, and I said, it's a free class, free book. And luckily, like 15 people came. I think at least 15 people were there, maybe more. But so because I brought 30 books, so if more than 30 people had come, some of them might have been pissed because on the poster I had just printed free book. Even though later on the Craigslist ad that I made for it, I said like free book for the first 30 attendees. But so yeah, if more than 30 people had come and they had only seen the poster, then they might have been pissed off because there wasn't the caveat of the first 30 or whatever. But as it was, had enough books for everybody. It was like mostly teenagers in attendance, actually. Like there was basically my friends who were like older and then a bunch of teenagers. Um, so that was cool. Although one of the teenagers was like a heckler and was kind of like a follow the science type of normie. But but it was good. Like as my friend was pointing out, like that guy was actually very useful for the class because he presented the kind of the normie position, the normie questions. And so I just got to like basically totally refute and destroy the normie position. Like not in any hostile way, but just like I would just explain to him why the premise of that he was starting at was flawed. You know, I did a slideshow. This class I taught it in the downtown Santa Cruz library community room. You can reserve them out for free. As long as you don't charge money for your event, you can reserve. I think each group can reserve it 4 times a year. So I'm not sure. I want to find out if that's like a calendar year or just like within a 12-month period. Because if it's a calendar year, then that would be cool. That would mean I could do like 4 this year and then 4 in like January or something, or whenever. But so yeah, it went okay. I mean, honestly, I couldn't say exactly how well it went. I mean, it went. Other than the one heckler, there was nothing really went wrong. Some of the people arrived late. Some of the people left early. A lot of people left early. I mean, it is a 2-hour event. And I actually Googled, I think last night to see like what is the average length of a course and like a class. And it seemed like the average length of a class was about 50 minutes. So it's like once you go too far beyond 50 minutes, according to websites and things, it might be too long a class or whatever. But I mean, having 2 hours, it also just gives leeway because, I mean, actually it's not even exactly 2 hours because it goes till it's 3 to 5. The library closes at 5. And so have to like close everything down, clean everything up and leave before 5. So can only actually do the event to like 4:45 at the latest, really, maybe 4:50 at the latest. But so but anyway, it's fine. I mean, it wasn't like such a linear presentation to where it mattered that much whether people came late or left early too much. I mean, I think it was kind of just a general random explanation of a bunch of points of ancient tradition, ancient religion, and especially ancient geography, cartography. But anyway, so I'm doing this video specifically just to find out like how live streaming works, because I think before like YouTube wouldn't let me live stream. I guess I didn't have enough videos or whatever, for whatever reason, I was not allowed to live stream. So, even though that was one of the reasons I even got a smartphone in the first place, other than going to Egypt and needing it to take pictures in the museums there. Um, okay, it seems like it just cut out there for a second. Awesome. Like, I would like to live stream the event. I would like to have live streamed my one that I just did on Friday the 13th, but I didn't get it together to do that, and that's fine. Um, I do have my video on YouTube of me doing a short archaeological presentation accompanied by a song at a open mic at a local cafe. Um, but anyway, like, so because I know if I just tried to record a video of it, my phone can only record for like 10 minutes at this point because it has too much stuff on it and it doesn't have as much space for memory or whatever as some phones have. So, um, but I guess live streaming is different. So live streaming, it doesn't require memory in your phone because it goes directly into the interwebs. So that's part of like what I'm testing with this to make sure that is the case. Since I think if I have ever I think I have live streamed, but it was like years ago on my earlier account that got like lost. But anyway, so that was on Friday. And, I think that I know that some people wanted to go to it, but like they had to work because it was on a weekday. And so, I had chosen that Friday the 13th just because it seemed too opportune to like skip. It was like I was already doing a kind of trolling, like edgy, like Halloween type of humor with like the dark magic and the hellscapes and hell spells and whatever. So it would just be icing on the cake to do it on Friday the 13th and really troll the like superstitious people. But and so for especially for being on a weekday, I think it went great. But and I was very lucky to have the help of some friends who helped me, who gave me a ride down there with all my books, with 30 books, 30 copies of my book, and you know, provided moral support, took me out for drinks afterwards, and and were the first people in there in the beginning I think in the beginning it was like just us, and then like another friend of mine that a mutual friend of ours like came, and um then I think I kind of just started doing it at that point, but like steadily a few more people came. And then it was like another friend of ours came, or a couple friends of ours, and then like a group of like teenagers, like maybe five or so, came in. There was like two groups of teenagers that each had like four or five people in it. So yeah, like, and then one of those, they came at different times, and then they both left before the end, but one left earlier and another left later. But they all took their books. Like, I mean, all of my friends, I think I had already given copies of my book too. So, but I gave copies to all the teenagers that were coming, that were in attendance, and so, and then at least one group, I think they took an extra book because they said uh, they knew somebody that would be interested, or they thought might be interested. So I was like, right on. And So yeah, there was one, I was showing like my maps, like the ancient Egyptian maps of America, ancient Egyptian maps of Afro-Eurasia, etc., and other maps, Paleolithic maps, Mayan maps, I think, Chinese maps, all these ancient, basically things that are only thought of as being religious, artifacts and not known to be maps, but that I interpret as being maps. And, that I've identified as maps for a lot of them. I mean, there's a spectrum of how certain I am about all of them, like the main ones that I focus on the most, I'm pretty much certain of, but there are others that are more speculative, but which I still touch on because there a lot of them have a lot of likelihood. But yeah, it went pretty well. Like the only problem was that I didn't it took me so long to collect the photos that I wanted to use in my slideshow, because I had when I switched them from one computer to another computer, it like got them out of order from it's like, it was like from the original order of whatever on my old laptop, they were they were sequenced based on when I had downloaded them into that folder. But I'm pretty sure on my new laptop it has lost that because it just records the one date of like whenever it was all transferred. Anyway, so like basically I scrolled through almost 30,000 photos, like just under 29,000 photos. I mean, I got to like skip by a few sections where I could see for sure that it was all the same thing that I didn't need, like if it was all from the codices, Mesoamerican codices that I wasn't really using, or all, because it's all the folder of my pre-Columbian transoceanic contact studies and probably some of my Neanderthal studies and my maps. So anyway, that took days to do, and I didn't honestly didn't get all the way through it. Got almost all the way through it, but I don't think I got all the way through the 29,000 photos. Got like 99% through probably, but or at least 95% through. And so, I definitely had enough photos that I did find to use, and ultimately it was more than I even had time to show. But because it took me so long to select those photos, I didn't have any time to actually put them in order and really plan out my delivery. I mean, I knew that like I knew that was the case. I knew I was prioritizing the photos over having it in order, over the kind of like linearity of the presentation. Uh, but like that's for me, like if you start getting caught up in the aesthetics, which is what basically separates me from like regular people. Regular people are caught up in aesthetics. So they're always trying to think like, oh, how will this look? How will this seem? What will I wear? This type of thing. What is my hair going to be like? I mean, you can look at any of my videos, you can tell I don't think about aesthetics. Like I'm not trying to like be a, supermodel on here. I'm just trying to deliver information. And but because of that, I think it frees me up to actually deliver information to those who are actually genuinely interested in information. So like um So yeah, I mean, I think like my friends told me it went pretty well, so that they learned a lot from it. Um, I in some ways I was lucky that the photos were so randomly ordered that a lot of the ones didn't have labels like uh because I have a lot of these map comparisons that have like that I've added labels for all the place names and everything of every island and peninsula that's part of the particular avatar or whatever, or part of the map. And but in this case a lot of them didn't have labels, and at least the ones I was clicking through while I was explaining the stuff. So, and luckily their setup thing was pretty easy. Like they just have a big screen on the wall, there's a cord or whatever, and then you just borrow the adapter, whatever it is, to plug into your laptop and screen share, and then it'll go on there. So I just put all the photos I wanted to use in a particular folder, set it on slideshow or whatever it is, where you can just click one to the next as full screen, and then just did that, and which worked, fine. Um, but I was going to say one thing that was actually useful about it being so out of order, that a lot of the first ones that I was encountering where it didn't have the labels, like didn't have a lot of text. It just showed the comparisons of the just showed the regular maps and the ancient maps. And so I was able to show that, like, how well I understand the subject, because I was able to actually point out all the geography in a way that was clearly that, it was clear that I wasn't reading off anything. Like I'm like standing up, pointing at the screen, saying like, pointing at Greece and saying, here's the Isle of Corfu here, and here's Lefkada, and here's Zakynthos, and here's Chalkidiki, and here's Gallipoli, and here's Istanbul. And, like, I was just able to do that like throughout the planet. Like, so like, I mean, I honestly, like, I was, I mean, in general, I've gotten a good handle on these things, but it came at a time where I had just recently brushed up on just a couple of these things that I had been, that I had forgotten. And so it was perfect timing in that sense, that I was at kind of at the top of my game on remembering all these like different islands and peninsulas and whatever. Um, and then the fact that, that the photos happened to be these ones that didn't have any labels, so that I had to, I had to use my memory. Um, so anyway, that was kind of cool. I basically was able to name, like every island in Japan, every island in like, you know, a bunch of islands, even in the Kuril Islands, and like the, which is, off the coast between Japan and Siberia, and, even a lot of islands in, the Philippines and around Australia and Papua, and I mean, just throughout, because it's like I was showing maps of every part of the planet, parts of part parts of Southeast Asia, Southwest Pacific, North America, South America, the Caribbean, the Arctic, the Antarctic, um, Europe, Uh, so anyway, that was just, it was heartening to know that like I really had it down. Like I could really like name all these islands, all like the Mediterranean islands like Majorca, Corsica, Sardinia, Crete, Cyprus. Um, so that went well. And so the heckler I had was a teenage boy that was just the standard, like, they couldn't have done that because that, like, they're so sure. They don't really seem to have pieced together why they're so sure, but they're entirely sure that this couldn't be, and that, the ancient Egyptians and other ancient people couldn't have like sailed around and like mapped out these places. And so I just answered him logically and explained that like it's not, you don't need modern technology to do any of that, you know, like there were relatively exact maps going back, long time ago, even in the mainstream canon or whatever, like even just the Ptolemaic maps and just all this stuff. They didn't, like there's people who will seriously tell me like that they don't think that maps would be like, they think that all maps are made using airplanes and satellites, or like, that basically that's the only way to make a map with any kind of accuracy. But like, no, people made maps before airplanes. Um, so anyways, so yeah, he had asked that the first time, saying like, how could they get over there? And I explained like, well, people have been sailing for like thousands of years. People have been in Australia for 60,000 years. So like, you know, that's all it takes. You just need to sail. And like, people have been inadvertently blown to America from Japan. Like Japanese fishermen have been like, caught up in storms and end up getting blown to like Alaska or British Columbia. And that's been going on, throughout the time that modern records have been kept. That has just constantly happened. And it's not, amazingly advanced boats. It's just basic like ship, fishing boats that get blown across the sea. So, as has been stated before, like if that happens now, it's stupid to not realize that it's always been happening. Like, I mean, I didn't say that in the class. I just said like, that it doesn't take much. It doesn't take so much. It doesn't take anything to do with modernity. Modern people don't have um, that much of a advantage over the ancient Egyptians in terms of just being able to sail to America. Like if I mean, probably they were much better sailors than a lot of moderns are. And so anyway, I just I basically I gave a good answer to him the first time, but then like a while later, like maybe 20-30 minutes later, he raised his hand again, and then he just basically asked the same question. He's like, but I mean, wouldn't that be impossible because of like, and I'm like, because what? He's like, because it was so many thousands of years ago. And that was just it. That was this whole question. Like, that was his whole counter theory, was like, yeah, but time. like as if somehow thousands of years ago there was a magical impediment to like sailing from, Siberia to Alaska, or sailing from, Scotland to Newfoundland or something. Anyway, so but he asked a few more other questions, I think. I can't remember exactly what. Um but he wasn't really like overtly heckling me in the class. It was just that once his group of people like left, like they had to leave early. They said they had to go somewhere. And so they were all leaving and he was the last one out. And he just turned and said like, um, well, I don't really exactly remember, but something of the lines of that I'm wrong, that that's all bullshit or nonsense or something, and that I should stop wasting my time. And like as he like leaves, and like literally as he leaves, like as he's like going out the door. So which is typical, because he had already seen like what happened when he tried to actually like poke holes in my theories and give me a chance to respond. I just showed him that he was just acting on pure uh, received prejudice, received presumption that somehow ancient people were immobile, were not able to sail. Um, so anyway, I hope that he only spoke for himself. At the very least, like all the teenagers, like they all kept their books that I gave them. So I'm hoping that they will read them, or at the very least give them to somebody who might read them. So yeah, and it's good. Like as my friend said, the heckler kind of like helped me to flesh out the argument and really present it in a way that refutes the common criticisms. All right, so yeah, this live stream thing does seem to work because it's already like 32 minutes and my phone hasn't like stopped recording, so it makes sense that it would not use up memory. So yeah, I guess I will live stream. I think I have a thing where I can like a stand. I think I have a cell phone stand somewhere where I could like stand up my phone and then just record. Hopefully the phone would actually like stay recording and not fucking go to sleep with. I mean, this phone is still recording. So, yeah. I guess it'll work. Here's hoping. So yeah, then oh yeah, let me see. Zero views, I think I have. 0 likes, 0 views. Well, that's good. That takes the pressure off. It's like the only thing I really care is if this can just stay up. I think it can, right? I can just keep this up on YouTube. Hopefully. Yeah. Without having to edit it or change it or something. Anyway, so then I took the rest of the books that I had brought, like the other 20 or so books, or 15 or 20 books, and took them all downtown to Pacific Avenue, the heart of downtown, and just gave them out on the street. Like there's like some empty building there. And so I had a bunch of posters that I'd printed out to use in like a presentation at an open mic at the 11th Hour Cafe open mic. But in the event, I had realized that I didn't really have time in the set to like actually show all these posters. So I just had them all, but they were all about the same topic, like of archaeology and ancient maps, ancient sacred geography, basically. That um, I just took them all. I took them all with me to the class because I was thinking maybe I might like tape them up around the class or somehow involve them in the class. But in the event, like it ended up not happening. So they were just with my backpack. So so yeah, I just taped them all to this about, like vacant building. There was like 22 posters I posted along this wall. And then I just sat there or stood there with my box of books and gave out, like 15 or however many books. Um, and I guess 15, probably 20 books. Yeah, because again, like I had only in my class, I didn't have to give everybody a book because all my friends there already had copies. But so yeah, I had about 20 left over, I guess. I gave three just to like this kind of occult themed hammock cafe that's near there. I think it's called Roxas or something. And they're pretty chill. Like I've gone there a few times or a bunch of times, got like their smoothies and stuff. And I had donated copies of my book before to them, like to all the people that work there, because I kind of did that to all like the stores that like specialize in like magical, like occult stuff or whatever. Um, so anyway, I gave them three more copies, and I know they have like turnover in their workers, so that could be for like whoever works there now or whatever. And I think they have some kind of practicing witches that work there. I forgot. I know they gave me some information about one of them, like who like leads classes locally, I think. I should like find out about that. But anyway, so I gave three to them, and then I just stayed there giving out books to passersby. I just say like free history book. Learn the truth about ancient civilization or the origins of civilization. And so it's my book, The Beautiful West, which is mostly focused around the ancient Egyptian maps of America, but also just explains like how ancient religion worked and how ancient cosmology worked. And so yeah, I gave those all out. And even though like the vast majority of people like not are not interested and they just ignore you, they just ignore me. Um, but there were some people that were really interested and really into it. Like a couple people gave me their numbers and whatever and wanted to stay in touch. And um, so yeah, that's good because then that way I have two new contacts that I can contact about my future classes. So anyway, I determined, um, I had seen like some young women that were on Pacific Avenue downtown a couple days before Friday. I guess that was on Tuesday night. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I think it was Tuesday, and they were like the three of them, or maybe Wednesday. Anyway, must have been Tuesday. No, it was like four or five young women that were like standing around one of my posters that I had put on the side of some store on Pacific. and they were just like tripping out about my poster, like saying how like especially like one or two of them were especially into it, and one of them was really bummed out because she had to work on that day. You know, she had to work on Friday, and they were just being like, "Wow, what is this? Like, what even is that mean? It sounds so cool." Like, I don't know. It was like such for me. It was like that's like the highlight of my life almost to like hear some random strangers be like totally, you know, um, just totally exhilarated by my work. And so I just was like walking by because I was about to put up another type of poster about like this anti-war event, but I was like, oh, actually, that's you know, because on the poster, on the archaeology poster, it had like the map from the Book of Two Ways. So I just said, oh yeah, that's the ancient Egyptian map of America, and you know, America was referred to as the West, the beautiful West, and also as the underworld because it's, you know, the opposite hemisphere where the sun goes at night. And anyway, they were into it. They were like, wow, that makes sense. That's so cool and everything. Like, how do we find out more about this? And I was saying, like, well, you could go online, you can download my book for free. Um, and they're like, oh, that's who are you? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me, I'm Rowan. And they're like, oh yeah, that's cool and everything. I mean, I don't remember exactly, like, but they were really cool. They were very appreciative. And so, and then after I did the class, I got an email from somebody through, because I did it, put up a Craigslist ad for it, and I got a message through that from somebody saying that were sorry to have missed it. I mean, it could be that that's one of those same people that I saw downtown, because I don't remember if they had told me their names or anyway. But but potentially it's somebody else that emailed me and said that, you know, they had had to work that day and they wanted to know how they could find out more about it. Um, and so you know, I told them how they could like download my book online. I think I sent them some links directly to where they could download my book for free. And but anyway, now I decided to do like my next event. I mean, it was as I had already basically planned to do my next one on a weekend. You know, I had to do that one on Friday the 13th of October just because it was like a quirky thing that there was a Friday the 13th in October this year, and it fit with the theme of my class. But but this time I'm just going to do it I wanted to do the next one on a weekend. So I found that there was a spot on November 5th, Sunday, to do the same thing, 2 to 5. And it seems like it will let me like reserve even more time, like 3 hours or something. But as I said, you know, like it seems that 2 hours is already a lot for a class. So I'll just keep it at that. And, you know, part of that time is set up and take down time anyway. But um, so anyway, the this one I'm just calling it, I'm still calling it Rowan Campbell Millar's Cosmic Symposium, but this time the theme is ancient sacred geography. So, which is basically what the theme was last time, but I just phrased it differently. So I posted again on Craigslist about it. I've already reserved and got confirmation for my reservation of the room of the downtown library. And so, yeah, I've already made the poster for it, basically just using 3 different ancient Egyptian maps of America. Um, and yeah, I just pasted them all into one image and then just put the text over it again, like, uh, and so this time I'm saying free book for the first 20 attendees. So I don't know. I'm gonna order 20 books. Um, I ordered these ones will be the black and white versions because they're cheaper, but I mean everybody can download for free the color versions. But black and white, I mean at full price, the black and white ones are like $9 or something, and the color ones are like $20, but plus shipping or whatever else. But a lot of times, since it's through Amazon KDP, uh, you know, direct publishing, they they can do it. Um, they can off. It's like often on sale, so they often charge just like $4 per copy of black and white, and like I don't know, like $8 for the color ones or $10 for the color ones when it's like, yeah, when it's like super on sale, like when they're doing their Prime Week or Prime Month or Prime Day, and but just often throughout the year it'll be on sale like that. So I'm pretty sure that I can get it for that price right now. So it'll cost, a little bit, but at least 20 will be cheaper than 30. But anyway, it's worth it for me just to get the word out because for me, I'm not a mercenary archaeologist. I'm not like chasing the knowledge with my eyes on the money. I'm chasing the knowledge with my eyes on the knowledge. And, I've obviously, uh, I mean, there's not really money in the truth anyway. The only money that there is in archaeology is just if you're a shill and then you just work your way up into the hierarchy and just regurgitate whatever you're told to do or whatever you're told to say. But anyway, so now I'm glad to know that I will be able to live stream this using this phone. And this my next class on November 5th, ancient sacred geography. I mean, it's kind of good too because so many people are familiar with at least the term sacred geometry, and they feel, and a lot of people probably think that's a super cool thing, even though they don't know usually what it actually implies. Like sacred geometry actually refers to measuring the entire planet. And so that's why the geodesic dome, it's like, all these things like that are shaped like the earth because geometry is based on the shape of the earth. Um, and ancient sacred geography certainly overlapped with and often combined with ancient sacred geometry. But the geography aspect is more like the genies, the spirits, the gods that represent the islands and rivers and lakes and peninsulas and continents. So yeah, it'll give me a lot more time to actually know what have my photos in the order that I want them with, with just, I mean, everything. It'll just give me more time to actually prepare. Like this first time, it was like, okay, I knew that I was going in unprepared in a way, but at the same time, I knew it's worth it regardless because I've already been preparing for years. I've been studying all this stuff. So, even if the delivery isn't like even if the delivery isn't seamless and linear, it'll still be it'll still contain the main points that I'm trying to convey. So, which was good. It was a great beta test or whatever you call it. It was a great like first go. And next time I'll have like a bit more polished product in that sense, at least. Like I'll probably, because before it was a little awkward because I was just starting randomly with different maps. And you know like if I really wanted to like convince somebody, like say the heckler, like, I mean, there's probably no way to convince him. But if there was a way to convince somebody who is super skeptical, it would be to start out at least first with the most obvious and the most solid, certain connections, the comparisons, and which would have largely been my overall comparisons of like the Book of Two Ways of Seppi, and the Tomb 100 at Hierakonpolis, and to a lesser extent, the Book of the Dead of Ani, and maybe some parts of the Book of Two Ways of Jehudi Hotep. And like, to start with those are like the ones that are easier to see for, the untrained eye or whatever. But, so as it was, I was just kind of like, I eventually did get to those, but I was like going through all this other stuff that was so new to them that it probably wasn't super convincing. Um, so next time I'm going to start with the like stuff that's, more obvious and more certain, and then branch out to stuff that's a little more difficult to see. But hey, it was true to the advertisement because it was supposed to be dark magic, i.e., mysterious magic. And it was. I mean, that's literally what that is. Stuff that you look at it and you're just like, oh, that just looks like gibberish, or that just looks like some silliness. And you don't realize that it actually contains some very precise and advanced science. So anyway, so seeing as that person that, the person downtown and the person in the email both wanted to go to the one on Friday but couldn't because they had to work. And I mean, it was kind of like a miracle to get anybody at 2 p.m. on a Friday, right? So the fact that I got like 15 people is pretty awesome. And like one of my friends was actually saying like that a lot of those teenagers were from the same high school, and it may be she was thinking that maybe they got their teacher to like let them go early so they could go to this thing. And that kind of makes sense because like high school would usually not get out. I mean, who knows? I don't know when high schools get out, but and their high school is like half an hour drive or more. So anyway, like it could be like that. It could be that they were getting credit for being in my class. Um, but either way, it was cool that they came. But definitely, if I have it on a Sunday, I might have a better chance that, to have like older people come, people who work during the week, or even people who are, college students who are in classes all week or whatever. Anyway, I mean, that just makes sense to me that if I can get 15 on a Friday, then I should be able to get more than 20 on a weekend. So should be good. I'll try to cook up like a really solid presentation and get to the point really quickly, get to all the main points quickly and hammer them home and flesh it out and just, try to illuminate the topics as much as I can. All right, so I guess that's the main thing I wanted to announce to the YouTubes. So yeah, thank you very much. And Auf Wiedersehen. All right, how do I stop this thing? How do I make it stop? Do I just click the X? I'm guessing I just click the X. Clicking the X. Peace.